The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it's Friday in the Riv. And
TGIF and miserable rain.
And miserable rain, and today, tomorrow, and who knows what. And what have we got again? All the articles today. Let me see. Correia.
Well, let's remind people at least that on Monday,
That's
the 5th,
right.
and the 6th, Tuesday, Easton Avenue around the Rotary will be closed at New Boston Road and Easton Avenue. So please be sure to plan accordingly. Don't try to come through the Rotary to get to this side of the city, you know, to Durfee or to BCC or Bishop Conley or to McDonald's or CVS or any of that. You're going to have to go around to get there.
And remember, the alternate routes will be crowded because most of them are through secondary streets.
Exactly.
And they're the only way to get to where you want to go. Or you will be in a situation that that old Maine comment, you can't get there from here. So, yeah, just be aware of that. But again, we have the business at hand, the business of politics. Again, I guess the first story we have by Joe Good is
his 45-minute web interview.
45-minute infomercial again, in which he did not deal with any of the allegations. He did not basically, all he did was talk about everything he's done, which is half of the fact that he didn't do most of what he
Right.
says he's done. And that's the problem. That's the reason that I think it was totally, ridiculous to allow him to do anything but get 3 minutes of citizens' input, because all the questions about the case have been asked and answered. They're all opinions, and, fact will be determined by the courts. All he's going to do is say, I was 19, I didn't do anything wrong, this is, now he's got the buzzwords, witch hunt, it's a witch hunt, and he's going to talk about all these things that he's done, which really amount to nothing. He's going to talk about streetscapes, which was to take care of his campaign contributor. Talks about getting rid of the $10 fee, but of course he's not mentioning the fact that he raised taxes and fees and all kinds of other things like that. So he made that money back in triplicate. And then he's going to take credit like all politicians do, and I'll be fair. All politicians do it. He's going to take credit for things like, the South Coast Marketplace. That project was started long before he became mayor. These things take time. Just like Eddie Lambert took credit for the fire apparatus that was delivered when he was the mayor, even though the federal process to get the money, the CDA money, was put in before he became mayor. This is what politicians do all the time. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you all watched the debate, but you should have. Last night, the Rhode Island gubernatorial debate, it was really fun. I mean, it looked like a Fall River debate. A lot of yelling, screaming. They had to caution the audience, threaten to eject a few people. They were blowing horns and booing and for a little bit, but a little bit calmer than most of ours. But, it's exciting to watch. But, they were attacking Raimondo for taking credit for things that were begun before she became the governor, and they're right, but they all do it. Anything that happens after they step into that office, if they've been in there 5 minutes, if it happens, they did it. If it's bad, their predecessor did it. If the city's in the toilet financially, my predecessor left this city in a financial straits.
That's what we heard from Jasiel all the time.
That's right. I save the city. And then, of course, how much money we have in the bank is always dependent on how much trouble you're in. If you're not in a lot of trouble, you got maybe $1 million. You start getting in trouble, it goes up to 2. Now it's up to what, 8? I think he said 8 somewhere. 8,
yeah, he changes the amount of number.
And I'll remind everybody out there, we got $8 million in the bank. This guy's doing such a great job. I didn't hear him go before the council when they were trying to raise your taxes with a debt exclusion and say, hey, Sean Kadim's right. We don't need to give you more taxes. We got tons of money in the bank. But no, did he do that? Hell no. But I mean, you know, this again was an infomercial, and the fact that, you know, I'm not happy with the city council. The fact that they were going to allow him to go in there and do this again, you know what he's going to do. Anything he's going to say about the case, which probably his lawyers finally put a muzzle on him, it's going to be his opinion. And because he says it's fact isn't fact, and because the feds say it's fact, it's not fact yet.
Although it probably is.
Although it probably is with their conviction rate. However, but they're going to have to bring forth evidence. You know, the feds are not going to come in and charge him with these things without evidence. They're going to come in and present their evidence. And if they have a preponderance of evidence, he's going to be convicted. And he's going to have to prove how their evidence is incorrect. And, you know, but that's to be decided in court. Like I said, his ability to do the job. Just look at this. 3 newspaper articles and nothing but about him and his infomercials, and now he doesn't want to go before the council. He's going to send a letter with all his accomplishments, which are what? If you look at 85% of those, they were begun before he became mayor, so he really didn't have anything to do with it. He was just there to finish the final dot the I and cross the T's for a deal that was begun long before he came in. He got rid of the $10 trash pickup fees. Big deal. How much of your taxes increased and fees increased since he eliminated that $10 fee? And the other one, I looked at another article I'm going to jump over. He's referring to the purple bags. He's still working at that because it's a money grab. Wasn't he 100% supportive of the purple bags?
Yes, he was when he was a city councilor.
But now it's a money grab. He didn't call it a money grab when he said, I fully support the purple bags when he was a city councilor. Now that it's politically expedient.
And when he took office as mayor.
And that's right. But now that he's in such desperate straits that, you know, the drowning man's grasping for a straw, well, I got elected on a $10 fee. Let me call the purple bags, what everybody else in the city called them, a money grab.
Yeah, and then he's blaming the city council for not being able to get rid of them when Joe Macy said, in his opinion very clearly, that the mayor has the authority to end the contract.
Yeah, but look, what has the facts got anything to do with anything he says?
Right.
I mean, like I said, he's still complaining that he's kind of half admitting he did some of these things, but he keeps saying, but I remember I was 19. Well, you're 19, you commit murder. It's a murder. You know, I'm sorry. The fact is, you know, you had enough sense to incorporate in Maryland, which is one of the best states, probably the best state in the United States for incorporation. You had enough intelligence to do that. You told everybody how brilliant you were as an entrepreneur.
With nothing to show for it.
But you weren't, that's right, and nobody got any money, but you got the infomercial on how much you've done with Snow Owl, yet nobody made any money. Now you're telling everybody what you did for the city. I don't see anything drastic. I see new pavement in front of your apartment, or well, you're getting evicted next month. But your current apartment and your campaign finance chairman's properties and Steve Camara's properties.
That's why Steve Camara doesn't like the recall.
Yeah, you know, I see a lot of these things that you're taking credit for. They're not stopping people from being shot, which you didn't address either. Being shot in broad daylight on Pleasant Street. And
by Gilbert Jewelers.
Yeah, and you don't see. Was our city the second most dangerous city in New England 5 years ago, 10 years ago? No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was up there, but it was nowhere near. Were we the poorest city? Did we have the lowest per capita income? No, Lawrence had that dubious distinction for a very long time. And we had a few below us at one time. We had Lawrence and Lowell and a few other these communities. But I don't see this big improvement. So you're going to send down this list of pizza places that where you cut the ribbon, you know, and Chinese restaurants where you cut the ribbon. Well, I remember Will walking out of the place down the South End with his big giant pair of scissors. Yep. Like this is the epitome of political propaganda. They make a big deal out of it. Walking in, they got this big giant pair of scissors that's bigger than them, and they walk out. They cut a ribbon for a Chinese restaurant that probably employs.
And what's interesting is, you know, Jasiel said he will not be addressing the City Council on Tuesday. He indicated during an online interview on Thursday. Instead, Correia said he will submit paperwork that shows he's been busy doing city business, from attending Little League banquets to meetings with the new BMC Durfee High School project team, which is BS. They published the attendance record, and Jasiel Correia had a big fat 0.
Oh, wait a minute. Are you sure?
That's what it said.
That's what it says? Well, somebody's lying.
Must be them.
Must be them, because Jasiel doesn't tell fibs.
Right.
Remember, if he was Pinocchio, his nose would only be in California. It wouldn't be over to Hawaii yet. But he doesn't tell fibs.
No.
Yeah, he's doing a... Well, what? Little League? How desperate can you be, CJ?
I know. But the thing is...
how desperate can... A Little League banquet?
Yeah.
This is why I want an E-charter. We shouldn't have a mayor that's like the Queen of England. A ceremonial mayor. You're going to go to a Little League banquet? What does that do for the economy and the safety of the people? It's a nice thing to do. But if you want to be a ceremonial mayor, let's hire a city manager, pay him to run the damn city and not break us with taxes. And you think that's the... Doesn't he have a chief of staff? Didn't he have a public relations guy? Send one of your minions to the Little League banquet while you're doing the real business. The real business is stop people from getting shot in broad daylight. Stop this city from being consistently voted as one of the worst places in the United States to live. Get some people some jobs. I mean, if you watch the gubernatorial debate, every single candidate talked about what we've been talking about for years on this show. Vocational education to fill jobs that are going unfilled. As a matter of fact, one of them even said, the reality is today you can make as much as a plumber as you can with a college degree. More for some degrees. And, you know, that's a reality. You know, this is what you're going to send down, more propaganda, pages of how many ribbons you cut, how many banquets you went to. This is what you've done for Fall River?
And he says very clearly in his interviews, he said that this was his original intention with his request to present at the city council meeting. I just wanted to submit that to the city council and then leave. I didn't want to get into a debate. It's their chamber, it's their meeting. It's not the mayor's place to go down there and to get into a debate with the city council.
Well, that's a nice spin, because what you're saying is I want to go down there and tell everybody, feed everybody this line of Little League banquets and ribbon cuttings and stuff that I didn't do, and say, look at how I'm doing the job. No, you're not doing the job. How many businesses have come to Fall River since you got your indictment? How many people have walked in there and said, I want to talk to you, Mr. Mayor. I trust you.
Well,
I want to come to this city.
Guess who pulled away? Guess who canceled their agreement to buy land at Fall River? Albertsons.
Yeah.
Do you know who Albertsons is?
Yeah.
That's Shaw's Market.
Yeah.
They were going to put a warehouse in on 91 acres of land, and they just let it lapse.
And that's what the city...
Because his redevelopment authority didn't want to do anything with it. They want to save the land for tech industry. We don't have the educational level for tech industry.
Yeah. No, of course not. But look.
But he doesn't talk about that, does he?
No, absolutely. He doesn't talk about anything that's germane to what we're dealing with. The city council is going to vote on his ability to do the job. And perception, as we've said numerous times, of a mayor is just as important as performance. And realistically, can he do a job? You could put a cardboard cutout of him. As a matter of fact, I think they did have that for about 6 months up there. You could put a cardboard cutout of him in his office, and nobody'd know he's gone. He's got Kathy Ann Viveris, Mary Sahadi, chief of staff, you had a press secretary. He's got more people up there. He's got a cabinet, for God's sakes. I mean, we had a mayor, Carlton Viveris, with a GED, not a degree in political science, a GED, who ran this city when we had 2.5 times the amount of city employees. When Carlton Viveris was the mayor, we had a 300-man fire department. 300 men. I don't think they're at 200 yet. 300-man fire department, 300-man police department. DPW was 4 times the size it is today. We had snow removal equipment. We had tons of people. We had a mayor with a GED and a secretary that ran this city. Now, every new millennial mayor that we get in here wants an entire staff to do their job so they can be a ceremonial mayor.
And get paid the big bucks.
If that's what you want, take 20 grand a year like the mayor of Worcester used to get and pay a city manager to run the city, because you're not doing anything. All you are, you're like the Queen of England. You're purely ceremonial. Because you want everybody else to do your work, you get the salary, and you get to go shake hands and have people kiss your ring. Well, guess what? Whether you're there or not doesn't matter. But the fact is, you being there, the perception of you being there, is it damaging the city? Well, I guess the Boston Herald thinks so, the Boston Globe, the Washington Post, newspapers in Britain, Japan. Look at these 3 articles. There they are. Correia. These are 3 separate articles too. Correia. Channel 6 News last night. Channel 10 News the night before. You know.
Channel 12 every morning.
Channel 12 every day. Local radio every day. You're not doing harm to the city. You're doing your job. Well, you weren't doing your job when you were in Portugal. You weren't doing your job when you were in Paris. Our sources say that for 6 months you were barely in the city hall. For nearly 6 months.
No, he was at the adult entertainment centers.
Yeah, well, who knows? But you weren't there. And if you're not there, like I said, it doesn't matter. You know, this is baloney. This is pure propaganda. You know, and and it's not just him. And we're not just picking on him. When Sam Sutter got in and he wanted to be like a DA and bring and enlarge the staff so he could basically delegate all his authorities, I objected. And as a matter of fact, we have the mayor of the Flint sitting out there looking at me, and he'll remember at one of the meetings, the Flint meetings I attended, and Sam and I got into a spirited debate, and he looked at me and he pointed his finger and he said, "I finally got you figured out." He said, "You're a small government man."
No.
And I went, "Good guess." I said, "You think I want you to have 75 assistants and still get paid $120,000 to run the city? Absolutely not. I'm a taxpayer. And I know this city can be run with a lot less people because I saw this city being run. When this city had almost double the school population, 33% more firefighters, 33% more police officers, 300% more people in DPW, more people in City Hall. Yet now the school budget is full. We have less students, and we've got more administrators, more people with titles in City Hall and $20,000 and $40,000 pay raises. And they tell us that, hey, this is the way it's got to be done because we can't do it. Well, maybe it's time to elect somebody that's about 85, that grew up when they said, you want something done, go do it yourself. We keep getting these mayors in that want to hire staffs to do it. You're not the president of the United States. This is not the president. Yeah, president of the United States needs a cabinet. Nobody can know what the President of the United States has to know to run a nation. But remember one thing, people. Fall River has department heads that are being paid very good salaries, six-figure salaries, to run the police department, to run the fire department, to run the Department of Community Maintenance, to run all these departments. It's their job to enforce their contracts, run their department, submit their budgets, and all you should have to do is ensure that these department heads do their job. That's the way it was done before. But now we need 700 tiers of people checking on people, and then nobody gets anything done. What the hell ever happened to our maintenance in this city? So, you know, it's just, look, anybody who hasn't signed a petition, please, go sign for the recall. And, you know, because, but I don't know. Then we'll have a special election, and again, who knows what we're going to get. So pay attention, please. Listen to people who are running for any office, especially city council and mayor. Listen to the people in the next election or the special election, and listen to the people who say, I'm going to do this job without all these tons of tiers of administration. The school department in Fall River has always had one of the highest administrator-teacher ratios in the state of Massachusetts. We got tons of high-paid chiefs and very few Indians in every job, in every department. So, you know, every time you get your tax bill and he talks about an $8 million surplus, what does that mean when we got $8 million in the bank, CJ?
It means we got $5 million in the bank. It means we got $2 million in the bank.
But what have they done? You always say it, CJ. You always say, when we got that much surplus, what have they done to us?
Taxes higher.
That they taxed us too much.
That's right. They always tax us too much. Always.
That's right. So, I mean,
every time you turn around, we got $5 million in free cash. We got $8 million in free cash. We got $2 million in free cash. We got $4 million in free cash.
We need a debt override for a school.
Exactly.
Remember that.
It's ridiculous.
And we need to bond for everything.
It's ridiculous.
Anything that costs more than $1.80, we got a bond for.
You know, it really scares me because there's a group of people out there, as we commonly refer to them as zombies, which are walking around with their heads up their derrieres. And they don't want to see what's going on. They think it's unfair. They think that, you know, you've got to be, he's guilty until proven innocent. And as I told somebody, shut them right up. Well, when you were screaming about Kavanaugh should be out, you didn't need proof. He wasn't innocent until proven guilty. Well, and then, of course, they're now saying, oh, well, these recallers, they're saying that people are threatening them and they're filing complaints. Provide the proof, provide the video. I said, oh, so when a woman screams that a man sexually harassed her, she better provide the video? Because that's what you're saying. You can't have two standards.
Well, you know, as Napoleon Bonaparte once said, there are two levers that move men but also move women. That's fear and self-interest. So there's self-interest. And I'll refer back to a discussion that I had with former Charter Commissioner Dan Robillard when he talked about the discussion about the 4-year term for mayor. And we had a lot of Jasiel supporters going up there and adamantly support the 4-year term. And they had a pretty good debate. And after the debate, he had a follow-up conversation with these people, and he asked them a very great question. He said, let me ask you this. He said, if it was Will Flanagan or Sam Sutter or Bob Correa as mayor, would you want a 4-year term? And they were dead silent. Because, see, that's the problem with people who operate purely on self-interest. Because all they care about is when their guy's in, they want him to stay in for 100 years. But if they don't like you, they'll be doing the recall. You know, that's the reason we have a process. It should be only in extreme cases. I saw a TV interview on 6 yesterday. You called me up and told me to watch 6. And they interviewed a few people that said he should go. Then they interviewed a guy, and his thing was, oh no, I don't think they should recall him. I don't think he should be taken out of office because he's innocent until proven guilty. Nobody's ever said he wasn't. But obviously, somebody has a difficult time understanding the concept that there are certain jobs that charges make it impossible for you to do your job. You can't be the DA if you got indicted for murder. You can't be in charge of a daycare center if you got charges pending for child molestation. Actually, last night they were just talking about some, what was it, Google CEO?
Yep. Yep, the women walked out.
They walked out, but they gave everybody like, and they're going to resign,
yep.
and they're going to give them, but it's not enough. And remember, people, you're worried about him being innocent until proven guilty, which he is. But you're applying that is sacrosanct. That's it. It's sacred. That's it. It's a guarantee. And you're right. What was Kavanaugh innocent until proven guilty? How many executives, including the Google guy who's leaving, he's leaving because of allegations. They're unfounded, they're unproven as of yet, and he may very well be guilty. But did he stay and let Google tank? Did those motion picture moguls stay? Did people in private industry? The mere allegation in today's society for the average person that represents any major corporation, maybe some dishwasher won't leave his job because he doesn't need to. Nobody cares if the dishwasher got indicted, you know? But anybody that's in and this is a nearly a $500 million corporation, and we got a $500 million in debt, so we're nearly a $100 billion corporation. Should our CEO exit for the betterment of this corporation? I would think so, because in the last year or two, how many people have you seen leave their jobs just because they were charged, or somebody leveled an allegation against them with no proof as of the point of that allegation, and virtually instantaneously after that allegation was made, they took a walk. They left. They didn't want to see their multi-billion-dollar businesses and multi-million-dollar businesses tank. The Google guy may be innocent. He may be guilty. But I'll tell you what, they're all leaving. The only one that won't leave is Jasiel. And all the zombies in that very appropriate colloquial expression that you created, now you can't get rid of him because he's innocent until proven guilty. Well, so was the guy from Google, so was Kavanaugh, so was everybody else who left their job. But that's the difference. Those jobs, they were going to create more damage to their company, and they did it for the good of the company, just as the mayor should do for the good of the city of Fall River.
And now here's the key on that, and I want our viewers to really remember this. These allegations had nothing to do with their jobs in the company.
That's right.
Okay?
Absolutely
that
nothing.
had nothing to do with that they did something wrong with the company. Just like the mayor always says, my charges have nothing to do with my term as mayor. My 3 years of successful term as mayor.
Although he did file a fraudulent tax return.
Although he did file a fraudulent, exactly. But nobody's saying that this has to do anything with your job as mayor yet.
Yet.
Okay, we don't know what's coming down the pipe yet.
No.
But he can't keep saying this has nothing to do with my job as mayor. It has everything to do with your job as mayor. Everything. And all you got to do is look at how I mean, we have politicians, governors, state senators, congressmen. Nobody wants to be bothered with you. Yeah. And in turn, wants to be bothered with us.
Oh, but that's 100% right. See, great analogy, because maybe they get it, because look at these people who were running corporations that were making billions of dollars. Their movie companies were still making money, but they didn't want that perception to be tied into their companies. But of course, we're in an alternate universe here. Everybody have a great rainy weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.
We'll see you on Monday. Remember, the detours on Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah, and remember, stay angry.
Stay angry, everyone. Have a great day.
Go buy your Boston Roll.